Hello and welcome to today's episode. I bring you another inspiring story you can't miss. Do stay cool and watch to the end to relax your day. Thank you very much. In a small village, there were two brothers, Uwai and Idem, who lived together after the passing of their parents. Idem, the younger brother, was ambitious and had dreams of making a better life for himself. While the elder brother was content with a simple life. Idem had a deep love for Wai, his elder brother. After their parents' death, Idem's desire was to help his elder brother Wai become somebody in life. Therefore, in pursuit of the greener pasture, Idem left the village to seek his fortune abroad. After years of hard work abroad, he succeeded in building a successful career, amassed wealth, and became financially stable. Idem then wanted to achieve a dream he had held close to his heart, which is to establish his elder brother Uwai. And so, he built Uwai a grand house, married him a wife, bought him a nice car, and was sending him money monthly, hoping to elevate his brother's status in the village. He simply wanted to ensure that Uwai and his family lived comfortably, with stability and security, a life many in the village would envy. Idem's love was boundless, his sacrifices immense. Idem dreamed of the day he would return home, marry and live alongside his brother happy and in peace. Therefore, Uwai had everything he needed, for which the villagers were jealous. After making his brother Uwai comfortable, Idem started sending him money to help him build his own house for him on his own land, a place where he could return and settle with the familiar comforts of home. Trusting Uwai completely, Idem sent him money to oversee the construction of the house. He entrusted his brother with the responsibility of hiring workers, buying materials, and ensuring the house was built according to plan. Idem envisioned a grand home, one that would mark his return in dignity and stand as a testament to his hard work and success. But Uwai, who had grown accustomed to receiving money without efforts, saw an opportunity not to build his brother's home, but to enrich himself. At first, Uwai followed the process just to keep up the illusion. He hired a few workers to clear the land, lay a foundation, and start the initial stages of construction. He sent pictures to them, showing steady progress. Idem, seeing the updates, felt relieved and satisfied. Encouraged by the progress, he sent even more money, hoping to speed up the work and ensure the house was completed in time. However, as the funds kept coming in, Uwai's greed heightened. He stopped using the money for construction and began diverting it to buy additional plots of land for himself, reasoning that Idem was wealthy enough to send more, so there was no harm in setting aside some for his own future. The money meant for Idem's house was now being used to expand Uwai's personal wealth. As time passed, Uwai abandoned the construction completely. He started spending recklessly, throwing extravagant parties, buying expensive clothes, and drinking heavily. His house became a gathering place for corrupt men who praised his generosity, encouraging his lavish lifestyle. They filled his head with the foolish ideas, convincing him that he was the true success story, not Idem. Uwai began to believe his own lies, thinking he deserved the wealth and admiration he was receiving. To maintain the deception, Uwai had to keep Idem convinced that progress was being made. He took pictures of another building under construction at different phases of the supposed project in the village and was sending them to them, claiming it were his work. He even sent fake receipts for the building materials as evidence. Realizing he needed even more money to sustain his reckless spending, he made a shocking decision. he sold the very plot of land Edem's inheritance for his future home. Without hesitation, he took the money and spent it without restraint, drawing himself further into his destructive lifestyle. The land, which was supposed to be the foundation of Eden's dreams, was now gone, sold to a stranger. To conceal his deceit, Uwai continued to send Eden fake photos of construction progress. As Eden told him of his idea to come back and asked of the stage of the building, Uwai, knowing he could no longer delay the inevitable, sent him pictures of a fully completed house, a house that didn't exist. The photos were either stolen or fabricated, but Edem, trusting his brother completely, believed him. Excited and full of anticipation, Edem booked his flight and traveled back home, dreaming of the house he had worked so hard to build. But when he arrived, his journey turned into devastation. There was no house, no foundation, no structure. The land where his home was supposed to stand had been sold to a stranger, with barbed wire surrounding it. Edem stood there, staring at the empty plot. His heart sank as the reality of Uwai's betrayal hit him. He felt a mix of anger, sadness, and disbelief. How could his own brother do this to him? Edem turned to Uwai for an explanation, but instead of remorse, his brother met him with hostility, turned cold and menacing, threatening Edem's life if he dared to speak of the house further. He justified his actions, claiming that Edem's life abroad was easy while he struggled at home. Edem realized that his brother was no longer the man he once knew. He has left him heartbroken beyond words and heavily betrayed. His brother he had sacrificed everything for had destroyed his future without hesitation. With nothing left for him in the village, he had no choice than to return abroad, and decided never to return, carrying with him the painful lesson that even his blood could turn against him. Uwai's grief soon consumed him. Without Edem's support, his ill-gotten wealth evaporated. The lands he had bought were sold off, and his reckless spending left him penniless. His wife, once living in wealth, was disillusioned with his lies and selfishness. She left him, taking their only daughter with her. The villagers were deeply disappointed and angry with Uwai. They admired Edem for his hard work and generosity, and they saw Uwai's betrayal as a shocking act of greed and selfishness. Many lost respect for him, viewing him as a dishonest and reckless man who squandered his brother's trust and resources. Some even distanced themselves from him, ashamed of his actions and the shame he brought to the community. Uwai was then alone, abandoned by those who once cared for him. The love of his brother, the love of his family, and the love of the villagers all were lost to his insatiable desire for more. As years passed by, his health deteriorated. As he turned to alcohol to numb his pain, hypertension and despair took hold, leaving him a shadow of his former self. Few years later, he died. When news of Uwai's lonely and tragic death reached Edem, he felt no anger, only a deep sadness for what could have been. Moved by reflection rather than resentment, he decided to return to the village. He built himself a house and decided to invest in the village, using his resources to develop schools, improve infrastructure, and support the youth, so they could not fall into the same cycle of greed and short-sightedness that had ruined Uwai. In time, Edem's contributions transformed the village. His selflessness and wisdom earned him great respect, and the elders, recognizing his leadership, made him their chief. Edem proved that true wealth was not in possessions, but in the lives he uplifted. And so, Edem was betrayed and driven away, returned now, not as a victim, But as a leader, his story became a lesson for generations that while betrayal can wound the heart, resilience and wisdom can turn pain into purpose. The moral of the story: the tragedy of Uwai is a cautionary tale of how greed can blind us to the love and sacrifices of those who care for us. Betrayal may bring temporary gain, but its consequences are far more devastating than any wealth. In the end, Uwai lost not just his brother's love, but his family and his own humanity. Sometimes the greatest tragedy is not losing what you have, but losing the people who could have given you everything. On the other hand, true character can rebuild with wisdom and generosity, leaving lasting legacies. Eden's stories reminds us that even in the face of betrayal, there is hope. That pain can be transformed into purpose, and that true strength lies in the ability to rise above adversity and build a legacy of love and service, even from the ruins of deception. For more, please subscribe to get an update for stories like this. Thank you very much. And please do drop a comment. Thanks.